Hi folks, hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday. It is a bit of a ranty video today, not going to be a shouty one, and it won't be that long, because I don't have that much to say about this topic, rather than stuff that I said already last year. I've said before that I'm going to be doing a lot of these videos on a yearly basis to see if anything's changed, and I'm sticking to that promise. If you like what I do, then the subscribe button is down below, the Patreon button is also down below, and also, hey, if you want to support me in the channel, head over to COMPOSITE Games, get yourself some games. At 5% off at checkout, you can use the promo code Northern Exile, and you will get yourself that 5% off of any order that you do. Whether it's here, whether it's there, whether it's anywhere in the world, from what I know. All of the instructions for international discounts are all on the website, so go and check them out there. You can still use the same promo code, I think, to get your discount, so there you go. They will also be providing a prize draw, which I will have the details on with our next video. So I'll give you the details for it then, and we'll go through that then. So, moving on, shall we, to the topic of today's video. And today's video is Games Workshop stock levels. What is going on? Now, this is a preview video to another video I'm going to be doing either later on this week or next week on hobby stockists, as in your local hobby stores that aren't Games Workshop. So your local hobby store that's not a brand Games Workshop store, and how Games Workshop treats them in terms of stock levels and looking after them, sort of a thing. This is kind of a preview to that video, so I'm going to link them both in together with similar themes. But I've been canvassing the Discord. If I've sent you a message on Discord, thank you for those who got back to me and spoke to me about their feelings on what stock levels are and how they go about getting models these days. Because quite frankly, you would be forgiven for thinking that Games Workshop do not want your money at all. You'd be very much forgiven for thinking, hey, you know, do you guys want to make money? Do you want me to spend any money? Because at the moment, their stock levels leave a lot to be desired. This has reared its head because with the Lion coming to the shelves, I have had more and more people tell me on the Discord that whilst they are avid Dark Angel players, they will not even be attempting to get their hands on the Lion within the next year. Now, the Lion's a huge thing. This is a huge event. And yet a lot of Dark Angels players are just not going to even bother looking at him, at getting him, for a full year. Because what's the point? We won't be able to get him. Okay? And frankly, I get rather protective of my guys in the Discord, so if you are here for a pick-me-up about the hobby and Games Workshop, this is probably not the video for you. It might be a little bit negative Nancy for you. Games Workshop have been, quite frankly, awful at ensuring that models are on the shelves or in the web store to actually buy. They will be the first to act like victims, though, should you dare to head to 3D printing, or God forbid, recasts from China or other areas. I will say this first and foremost, though. Every company grows, and we should be happy that Games Workshop experienced a lot of growth over the pandemic, and even as things return to normal, after that jump in numbers, they are still reporting a clear profit. Clear, as in money to throw in the bank, of around £50 to £60 million a year, which is phenomenal business. This puts it in the upper echelons of UK companies, especially those within a niche market just like ours. Any company going through such a drastic shift upwards in demand is going to experience problems with production as they go through the teething problems of managing the higher demand. The issue is, though, this problem of low stock was around long before the spurt in business. Those of you who have been around for the past 8 to 10 years will know how low stock levels can get. Me, myself, when I was running a Games Workshop store, I had the things in the store on the shelf, they would sell out, and then I would be like, what the hell do I do with everything else, okay? I look online, I take my customer over to the kiosk to go and get themselves some models, you know. They'll come in and say, hey, do you have that Indomitus set, or do you have that Dark Imperium set, or this new Space Marine set that just came out? I'll say, no, I don't have any on shelves, but I can order one for you, and it'll be free posting if you get it to the Games Workshop store. And they say, oh, lovely, brilliant, let's go and have a look. The amount of embarrassing times I did that, only to go onto the website and see, oh no, it's sold out. It's sold out there as well, only for the parent or person to say to me, well, aren't they just Games Workshop? Can't they just make more, like make them on demand? At which point I say, yes, they should. Now, for a long time, I didn't say that. For a long time, I'd make excuses for them. I would make excuses for them and generally talk about, oh, well, unforeseen demand and things like that. But in the end, I just said, yeah, they should. You're completely right. And we bring it up at every single training meeting. You're completely right. They should. But they don't. And there are a few reasons why they don't. I don't get into them with customers, but I will get into them with you now. So, how the hell can a company operate without stock on the shelves? Why do Games Workshop seem not too bothered about people not being able to get orders on release? Because they don't seem bothered, do they? They honestly don't seem bothered. Well, there are a few factors why they can thrive and why they don't seem bothered that you can't get the models that you want on release. I've highlighted 3. The first one, Games Workshop see their product as a special, one-of-a-kind thing. And they are right for the most part, let's be honest. Other companies simply cannot keep up with the quality of their models or universes for the most part. Now, I'm not here to shit on anybody else's game or to say your game isn't as good as what GW does, right? I'm not here to say that because taste is taste and it is what it is. To me, GW have the best universe in 40k and they have by far the best models on the market. That's just me, right? That's just how it is. Even really amazingly done 3D prints are kind of... You can tell they're not Games Workshop models. Do you know what I mean? Not by a lot, but you can tell. You can tell. This is the reason why I think 3D printing will eventually explode. It won't explode with people getting full models, because you can kind of tell they're not Games Workshop models. It will explode in somebody buys like a set of Grey Knights, right? And they go, right, this is enough for, how much, 10 Grey Knights? Okay. Well, with 3D printing, I can make sure this is enough for 30, 40 Grey Knights. You know, they're replacing parts, or they're adding parts to a kit that make sure that they can actually create far more Space Marines than there actually is in the kit. I think that's how 3D printing is going to go for at least a while, which is great. This is the same reason Games Workshop, however, will never run a sale on anything they sell. It would devalue their product as something less special, like something you'd pick up from any other store. Games Workshop wants their company name and brand to be associated with a marvellous and unique thing. Products lose their luster when they're on sale. Also, this forces customers to buy Games Workshop products on Games Workshop's terms, not the customers. The prices are the prices, the release dates are the release dates, the pre-order dates are the pre-order dates. Buy it now at full price or miss out. Get good. Sort of an attitude, right? There's another thing that I wanted to say about this as well, as I drink my coffee. One sec. And that is that there is a very good indicator of where Games Workshop see themselves on the high street. Okay? We didn't see our competition as being people like Wayland Games and Wizards of the Coast and any Blizzard or anyone like that, right? We didn't see them as competition. They weren't competition, right? Do you know who was competition for us? Ann Summers. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Ann Summers is a very specialist boutique sex toy shop and lingerie shop and sexy stuff shop, essentially. Mainly geared towards women, but if you go in there as a guy, I'm sure they'll help you out as well. And in customer service feedback forms, it would always be Games Workshop and Ann Summers at the top, and we were always fighting it out to see who would get the best customer feedback, because at the end of the day, we both sell specialist products. And we both sell products that have a very specific niche. And we both sell products that we want to get people into so that it becomes their hobby, it becomes their thing, that they use these things and they have enjoyment out of them, right? I know. I bet you never thought this conversation would take this kind of a turn, but it has. So those were our actual competition. We were told that all of the time. And Summers are the competition, right? Whatever levels they're doing and selling, we're in a similarly sized market. As in, our product and their products are similar in their not in what they are, but in their niche value, And so, if we're beating them in money, and we're beating them in sales, and we're beating them in customer feedback, we're winning, essentially, right? And that would go for nearly every niche product on the high street. Lush was another one. Lush was another store that Games Workshop would look at quite a lot and say, are we beating Lush? Are we getting them out of there? They are also selling a niche product. Are we beating them? And 9 times out of 10, we would be beating them. But those are the companies that Games Workshop look at as competition. They don't look at geeky stuff as competition. They don't look at Wayland Games or Element Games or Wizards of the Coast. In fact, that they mock Wizards of the Coast for attempting their own band of stores back in the day that didn't go anywhere, right? Blizzard, again, we don't see anything like that as competition. And I think that's why I didn't get on very well with a lot of the higher-ups in Games Workshop when I was there, and that's mainly because I was on the other side. I thought our competition was Wizards of the Coast, Blizzard, all these other people who basically nick Games Workshop's ideas sometimes, although Games Workshop nicks everybody else's ideas, so I don't see why they should have a hegemony over these things. But anyway, these people who take our ideas and go and make cool things with them. Those should be, the way that they treat their fans should be how we treat our fans, okay? In a good way. Take the good practices that they do, that fans like, and do that, alright? And everything that fans don't like that they do, don't do that. If Games Workshop was run that way, I swear to God, it would be making a lot more money than it is. And I'm not sitting here thinking verbatim I know everything about everything ever. I don't. But I just, from looking at how the company runs from the inside out, and the complaints that we currently have, I can't help but feel that Games Workshop are leaving all of the money on the table for a little bit of money in their hand now. They're cashing out, basically. It's like saying to them, would you rather make £1 million over the next 5 years, or I can give you £10,000 now? They're accepting the 10 grand now, rather than wanting to earn that money over the next couple of years. Anyway, moving on. The second reason is Games Workshop have chosen to combat recasts and 3D printing, not by embracing the coming revolution and riding the wave to higher success. No, that would make too much sense. But they double down on forcing their more wealthy customers to pay for the product up front. In short, they are harpooning whales. What I mean by that is, there are always more affluent people in the hobby who are willing to spend more money to get the thing that they want right now. Okay? Unfortunately though, this tactic has a law of diminishing returns attached to it. As we can see from our own Discord, on our Discord we have a group of very successful and affluent people there. We have lawyers, barristers, doctors, educators, one judge, and I shit you not, a member of bloody Parliament in the UK in our Discord. These are all people that I've spoken to on the lead up to this video. These are the types of folk that Games Workshop want to siphon money from. Most gave up on getting product directly from Games Workshop or any other normal outlet long ago. Okay, that's the feedback I got. Stock never exists, as Games Workshop would rather foster a culture of scalping and fear of missing out than actually making sure their devoted fans have access to cool stuff. That's what they would rather do. They would rather make sure that they're making a little bit of money now, right, to please their shareholders, than actually give their fans some really cool shit to be happy about. And these are not penny pinchers. These are not people who are in the hobby and are basically like, oh, maybe I'll spend a little bit now, or maybe I'll save a little bit. No, these are people with money burning a hole in their pocket. These are people who are desperate to buy cool shit. They can't though. They can't. Because there's never any stock. Okay? Stock does come back eventually, but for the first 3 or 4 months of a product being out, you will not see one for love nor money. And as soon as it's released online, you will go on eBay and you will see scalpers selling them for £300, £400, £500, £600. These are £80 models, which is enough. That's very expensive. But they're going for £600, £700, and I have had one person from my Discord say that's how they get their models. They're making more money than God, essentially, and so money is no object to them. So they quite happily go to a scalper website, go to an eBay or whatever, and they will pay £400, £500 for a Lionel Johnson or for an Angron or whatever, because they want them. As soon I got into it with him, I talked to him about it. But as soon as people keep doing that, Games Workshop will always have an excuse to just do it, because they say, look, you give money to scalpers, it's not our fault. You know, they will always pass the buck on to you. The third reason, well, those are the two reasons why they do what they do, okay? They're trying to create a fear of missing out. They're trying to create an artificial marketplace, which is very short-lived, where they make some money now, rather than all of the money later, okay? That's what they're trying to do. They're combating 3D printing and recasts by making their product niche and making sure that it sells exactly the same amount that they want, exactly by the time that they want, right? By ensuring that you fear to miss out on your models, they ensure that they sell the amount of models they need to make money from a certain line of models. That's essentially it. That's essentially the scheme. The scam, right? That's what it is. That's essentially it. They're conditioning you to buy your models when they say. It's up to them when you buy your models. Because if you don't buy it on release, you're not getting it for at least 6 months. Just is what it is, dude. Just is what it is. And what they do by doing that is that they make sure that they're making the amount of money that they want to make from a certain run of models, essentially, right? Okay. So, and here's the main reason why I dislike this practice. I've done a lot of griping in this video, but the main reason why I dislike this practice, however, is not because we can't get access to models in a timely manner, because that is the epitome of first world problems right there, you know what I mean? So it's not because of that. It's not because of that. Instead, I am frustrated by Games Workshop's sheer refusal to survive and thrive. Now, what do I mean by that? Any company worth their salt would see the writing on the wall here. 3D printing is coming. Recasts are getting more and more elaborate. Okay? The revolution is on its way. It is on its way. If it's not happening, it might not happen in 10th, but it will certainly happen by 11th edition. You know? They will be in big trouble. Any company worth their salt would see the writing on the wall here. Investors will look in and see you cannot meet your quotas for demand and be worried. Worse still is when they realise you are doing this, for the most part, on purpose to nickel and dime your customer base in one of the most short-sighted acts of mismanagement I think I've ever seen. GW would rather make some money right now than 10 times that amount over the next 5 years. That is simply how it is. It is backwards, and with the dawning age of 3D printing and recasts, they are treading on incredibly thin ice, and the sharks are waiting under it when it breaks. Alright? I know that is not the how to put it, the finish to my research over the last couple of weeks that people wanted to hear, you know? They wanted to say, oh, well, you know, is there a time when they're going to stop this behaviour? Quite frankly, I can't see a time when Games Workshop relents and says, no, you know what, we're going to make sure that there is stock levels there, that there is, you know, the only people stopping Games Workshop from making enough Lionel Johnsons to sell to everybody that wants one is Games Workshop. That's it. That is it. You cannot have a company making 50 to 60 million pounds a year in clear profit not be able to make a certain amount of models for a certain amount of people, when your entire market, your entire reason for existing is those models. Okay? There is absolutely no excuse for this. None. I've gone into one of them and I've given them a little bit of leeway and said, look, for the first year after your company explodes in demand, 2021, you know, was that year, the first year afterwards, I expect some issues with stock levels because, hey, you know what? You've had a huge upturn in business. Maybe you didn't see it coming. Nobody saw the pandemic coming, let's be honest, right? And nobody saw the success of Games Workshop in the pandemic, let's be honest. That was one of the things I thought would happen, it would go the other way. I thought it'd go the other way and they would struggle. But to go through all of that growth, and I would then give you a year leeway to get your company up to spec to meet your demand. The problems are, though, is that not only did they not do that, they weren't meeting demand long before the pandemic. Long before. That's because this isn't a natural problem of supply and demand. This is an artificial problem created by Games Workshop because it serves Games Workshop's short-sighted needs of making some money now rather than all of the money later. Okay? I do worry about the longevity of our hobby, or at least the Games Workshop portion of our hobby, if these behaviours and these modes of making money carry on. Because people will get smart to it. People will walk away and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm good. Don't need GW. I'll move on, thanks. There are going to be so many people who will make that decision. And if they do stick around with GW stuff, and 3D printing comes along to the point where it's indistinguishable from Games Workshop's products, and it's quite cheap to go and buy them online, that is when we're going to see a huge downturn in GW's business. And it is coming. 3D printing, the models that you can get, they're coming down and down and down in price, from what I can see. The demand is going up, and the price is quite frankly coming down from a lot of products that I'm seeing online. And as soon as that keeps happening, we are going to see a massive downsurge in Games Workshop's business model. They are not adapting with the times. I've said that it's been an ongoing thing on my channel. They're not adapting. They're not getting used to what's going on. They're not shifting with the paradigm of the market as it's going now. And if this keeps going for the next 5 or 6 years, well into 10th, they could be in trouble. And that's mad to say. For a company who's making 50, 60 million pounds a year, they're never going to go anywhere. They're never going to go out of business, right? But they're going to take a big hit. A big hit over the next coming years if they don't book their ideas up. It's just natural. You can't keep treating your customer base this way and not expect anything in return. It is coming. What do you guys think? Am I being doom and gloom too much? Am I being a bit too, shall we say, over the top in my criticism? Let me know in the comment section down below. Love your long time. I will speak to you tomorrow for some more Hobby Nightmares. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.